Although the strange shadows still patrol the corridors whenever the night fog rises, the passengers have grown accustomed to their presence. Everyone is eagerly waiting for the Mobius to leave the mountains and reach its destination as soon as possible. However, the truth hidden in the box still haunts you all. We can now confirm that Mark, Janice, and Ernst, the three victims, had conflicts with Miss Hill, who worked at Khan Corporation. One day after eating, everyone gathers in the lounge to exchange ideas and search for any missing clues. Yeah, according to Yan Khan, and combined with the video we saw, Hill suffered unfair treatment at Khan Corporation. Unfortunately, Yan Khan is too cunning to reveal anything about Hill. But there is one thing, I remember it distinctly. Yan Khan was furious that Ronson suspected he was the one who replaced the aminophylline slow-release capsules in his medication. That angle seems genuine. In truth, we only speculated that something might be wrong with the medication. Ronson was the one who assumed it was Yan Khan. Dr. Richter, do you mean it's possible that someone else replaced his medication? Yes, I believe that it is highly possible. We have already seen there is someone on this train who wants us to uncover the secrets of the Khan Corporation. Moreover, the drama between Yan Khan and Dr. Ronson is not sufficient. Not only that, we have yet to find a real suspect in Mr. Khan's death. Yeah, this plan has been in the works long before we got on the train. From the moment Luke received an international case, we have been forced to accept our passive role. Luke nods deep in thought. Under the guise of a case, we gained a preliminary understanding of Sheila Hill. Later, the person also left red poppy flowers at the scene of the crime as a sign, and pretended to be a ghost by using a microwave controller and taking advantage of the abnormal phenomena on the night fog. Those behaviors were deliberate to add a mysterious element to the case, putting psychological pressure on the victims. Later, we were deliberately led to a conversation between Dr. Ronson and Yan Khan in the utility room. And we also received a video that told us more about Hill's connection to the Khan Corporation. It seems someone was hoping that this case would be connected to Hill. But we don't have many clues. If we know for sure that there's someone else on this train with a connection to Hill, maybe... At this point, you suddenly remember Vince's smile when William Lewis praised Amy. Dr. Richter, I've been meaning to ask you, do you suspect Amy? I do not suspect him, I just have reasonable doubts. A person hidden in the crowd is not easily seen. But when the crowd disappears, that person becomes something special. I feel there is something special about him. Call it my intuition. Intuition. Special. Recalling Amy's timid and cautious appearance, you are somewhat unsure. It's true that Amy has been in contact with us since the beginning, even offering us clues and hints. If he deliberately guided us... Dr. Richter, I believe in your intuition. But that alone will not produce any results. Yes, we are still missing direct evidence. But the evidence... The only place we haven't searched on this train is the luxury carriage booked by the Khan Corporation. Last time, we only checked out the safe, and it wasn't a thorough search. If we give it a thorough search, do you think we'll discover more clues? I don't know about clues, but I believe we'll find something. But how can we search the luxury carriage? Yes, you are about to suggest talking to someone from Khan Corporation when a knock on the door interrupts you. The person knocking on the door is William Lewis. You're all here? Miss Lewis, hello, sorry for all the trouble we've caused you for the past few days. There's no need for that. We're not friends. I said I'd help and I'll help. Despite him speaking in the same arrogant tone, it doesn't sound too annoying right now. Oh, by the way, I came to ask, do you need to search for evidence? Search for evidence? Why are you so surprised? Do you not do that in Stalis? No, that's not it. I just didn't expect you to take the initiative, Mr. Lewis. William Lewis nods, as if not accustomed to talking any of you outside the courtroom. I asked Yan Khan and Dr. Ronson for permission. If you want, I can escort you to the luxury carriage. Thanks, we were just about head there to investigate. Artem thanks him with courtesy. William Lewis doesn't say anything else but signals with his eyes to follow him. Perhaps William Lewis had negotiated in advance. The carriage is empty except for some crew members. However, the passengers' belongings have been left behind, waiting for inspection. Take a look around. Call me if you have any questions. William Lewis doesn't follow, instead indicating that he wants to leave. Thank you, Mr. Lewis. How about we split up? Yes, it will be faster. Agreed. There should be bits and pieces of information scattered around the room. I'll make sure not to miss anything. Let's hurry up and start then. This is a partnership agreement draft offering technical support for element T conversion and extraction technology. I remember when Schneider said, Khan Corporation is the only company in Bakerlon that can reliably extract element T. So this partnership agreement, Khan Corporation wants to change strategies and start looking for other companies to collaborate on the technology with. I look over the agreement. The other company's name and signature have not been filled in. It should only be a preliminary document and its contents are of no particular value. But here. Saying so, Artem points to the place where the agreement was signed. There is a light blue logo where the signature should have been. Is it the Khan Corporation's company logo? No, the Mobius introduction leaflet has the Khan Corporation's company logo, which I believe is based on a druze. This looks more like a flower. Yeah, the pattern of these 4 petals is really similar to the gladiolus found in Stalis. Gladiolus? Mr. Wing? It's nothing. I might be overthinking it. Let's look elsewhere. Sure. What did Mr. Wing think of that logo? Is it really a gladiolus? Dr. Richter, what are you looking at? You seem lost in your thoughts. Interesting. I did not expect to find this information. That makes it easier. What information? It is the academic information and experiment data related to element T. The documents appear to have been carefully organized and bound, probably to be put on display somewhere. Yes, Miss Schneider and Corporation were planning to participate in a mining auction on Kidun-Gagap Island. Maybe is information to be used in the auction? You take back your words as soon as it leaves your mouth. No, that's not right either. If the information is to be used at the auction, then it should be related to mining itself. Why would there be research data on element T? Yes, a simple auction would not require any of this information. However, take a look at this page. Vin points at the experimental records on the attached page. These data documents record some effects of the element T on the human body. Among them, promote self-differentiation and may affect the psychological function of mammals. The human body might be affected by element T? Wait, element T effects on the human body. Why does this all sound familiar? Once upon a time, you had all encountered strange experimental data from a tomb deep under the sand and in an estate on a snow-covered mountain. Some theories overlap with this experimental data. Is it a coincidence or... Hold on to these documents. They might prove useful in the subsequent police investigation. Sure. Cooperation Agreement. It appears to be a cooperative agreement between Corn Corporation and other companies concerning element T, deconversion, and extraction technology. The agreement was still in its drafting phase, evident by the lack of completed clause and an official company seal. Strangely, instead of completed clause, there is a picture of a light blue 4-petal flowers. It's unknown what it means. Some excerpts are as follows. Both parties agrees on the principle of good faith and mutual benefit and intend to cooperate on the development of Party E's industrial project. Party A shall provide product details and a settlement price to Party B in time. Party A shall provide sufficient raw materials of element T to ensure that Party B can conduct relevant research independently. During the initial stage, Party A shall bear all research expenses. While this agreement is valid, Party A will arrange personnel to work at Party B's company to assist and take charge of relevant work to ensure that the agreed cooperation is carried out without interruption. Information folder found in a suite belonging to Corn Corporation. This academic research information contains the related lab data pertaining to the effects of element T on the human body. P.S. The document is so long that Davis has already selected the most important part for me to analyze. Please read it. Compound element code T. Compound definition: a solid chemical concentrate is formed after the extract from high purity Bakerlon crystal is put through concentration and purification multiple times. Applications: widely used in biochemical pharmaceuticals, biological engineering, in organic new materials, and other fields in Bakerlon. Compound effects: after multiple experiments, the element has been proven to promote cell differentiation and affect the physiological function of mammals. Refer to index for experimental data. Hey Maris, what are you looking at? A map of train routes? I'm just wondering, did the Kanko family really revive the Mobius just for high-end tourism? What do you mean? The cost of running a train like this is considerable, given that the quality of its hardware and services must be maintained. Business is business, and I don't think Mr. Khan would go out of his way to give charity to the rich. Mr. Khan said in the embarkation ceremony that this trip has been fully compensated to promote tourism. How many people would take a high-end luxury train because they are interested in minerals? Furthermore, this train doesn't make any stops on the way, so passengers have to stay on board for a long time. Yeah, the operating costs outweigh the profits. Thinking about this from another perspective, the Mobius was originally used to transport ore. In terms of railroad transportation, Khan Corporation is very familiar with this route. If the Khan Corporation deliberately revived the Mobius for the extra transportation line, you're saying that they might be using this route to secretly transport something to Ginun Gagap Island? It's not impossible. Businessmen try all kinds of methods to make money. If that's true, there's more to the story than we thought. Check out what I found. A chip and a really tiny one too. Where did you find it? The secret compartment under the bed. It's a detective job to pay attention to every detail. Can we decode the chip's contents? Let me see. Luke inserts the chip into a decoder which prompts a password. It's encrypted. I need to figure out a way to crack the encryption. This will take some time. Encrypted chip found in a suite belonging to Khan Corporation. This encrypted chip contains a document signed by Sheila Hill. Strange. After looking around the luxury carriage, Luke starts working on cracking the chip's encryption. This time, however, it is enough for even a decoding master like Luke to frown. Is it hard to crack? Yeah, it's quite complicated, making it difficult for the average person to solve. But look, you're far from average. I'm proud to hear you see that. Luke smiles, but that is soon replaced by a worried look. Hold on, I've almost decoded the chip. But I discovered this chip doesn't belong to Mr. Khan or the Khan Corporation. Who does it belong to then? The chip contains documents belonging to Sheila Hill. If you cannot crack the code she left behind and acquire the key before reaching Ginun Gagap Island, you know the consequences. I remember that those were the words of Yan Khan. So this is the key that Yan Khan and Dr. Ronson were talking about. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, this must be it. Luke's long fingers tap quickly on the keyboard. After a while, a prompt appears on the tablet with the chip attached. Yeah, there we go. It's open. What's inside? Most of it just research data on element T and some theories about how to accelerate the extraction. It seems Miss Hill encrypted her research. Without knowing the experimental process, the experimental result is useless. Won't that backfire when they really need to use it? No wonder Yankan and Dr. Ronson were eager to break the decryption. What about these encrypted files? Having scanned over all the files stored in the chip, your eyes focus on a log file icon. Let me have a look. This is a bit complicated. It might take me a while. But after about 5 minutes, Luke presses the confirm button. The tablet screen then displays the contents of the log file. An experimental log. No, this is a personal diary. What's shown in the file is not the meticulous data records expected from a scientist, but something warm, even a little casual. Today's experiments were all failures. The extraction technique is not yet mature or stable. I have to be more careful. The elementary conversion experiment was a success today, but energy leakage during the refining process cannot be eliminated. Element T is far too unstable. How can I ensure its long-term independent existence like other stable substances? I guess so-called scientists are always trying to go against nature. Anyone in the world can write down what they like and experience on a whim. There's no need for reason or logic. It just needs to fit their mood at the current point in time. And this mood is unfolding before your very eyes. Despite never meeting this genius scientist, you can feel the truth behind her words. Most of the entries in the diary are Miss Hill's personal feeling when researching element T. Why would she encrypt her diary? Although diaries are private, isn't it going a little overboard to encrypt it? Let's keep reading. Maybe it contains something special. Alright. It takes a long time for you to read through the entire diary. However, after doing so, the room falls silent. I had no idea the article improving the success rate of elementary extraction was published under Miss Hill's name by Khan Corporation. But that wasn't what she wanted. The so-called elementary extraction technology isn't fully developed. Large-scale production may lead to physical injuries to the staff. Khan Corporation did not intend to disclose this risk and began to plan production. To prevent that from happening, Miss Hill hid her research results from Khan Corporation, and the higher-ups didn't like that. That is vastly different from what we were told. How much has Khan Corporation kept from the public? Sometimes the eerie fog parts on you for a moment. Later in the diary, Hill attempts to negotiate with Khan Corporation to get Mr. Khan to stop the publicity. But clearly, none of those interventions worked in the end. Instead, Khan Corporation stripped her of her access and handed her research data to someone willing to collaborate with them. Yes, the diary mentioned Miss Hills attempting to gather evidence of Khan Corporation's wrongdoings and preparing to hand it over to the authorities. Unfortunately, that hope was also extinguished. If she had succeeded, we wouldn't be here. If Miss Hill had succeeded, it was inevitable that Khan Corporation would be investigated by the Bakerlon police. As a result, the Mobius train ride would also be put on hold. The possibility of loss becomes especially poignant before the predetermined outcome. So the video we watched was of people of Khan Corporation trying to force Miss Hill to hand over her research data. Presumably, they resorted to unusual means when that failed. That video was more than an interrogation. At the time, everyone in Khan Corporation turned a blind eye to Miss Hill's miserable state. Look at these entries. Luke interrupts the conversation and draws everyone's attention to a section of the diary. An undercover policeman contacted me and promised to offer me assistance. Thank goodness, the heavens haven't forsaken me. It came as a surprise. The person who has always been paying attention to me and comforting me was actually him. He might have been sent by God to meet me. Undercover policeman? Does that mean someone infiltrated the Khan Corporation? Well, that begs the question. If the police are involved, why has Miss Hill been missing for a year? Her whereabouts unknown, and nothing has been heard yet? And judging from what we've seen, Khan Corporation is unlikely to be under investigation. Any mentions of the undercover cop disappear in the later half of the diary. The last few entries are all very fragmented and seems to have been written in a hurry. Strange, we agreed to exchange data today. Why hasn't he showed up? Should I go to the police directly or wait for him? A long time has passed and he still hasn't shown up. I hope nothing bad has happened to him. Oh no, insights for me. I might not be able to escape. Ernst? Didn't Ernst get into an altercation with Dennis and finally a connection? Mark, Dennis, Ernst, all of them are connected to Miss Hill. So am I to understand that Dennis killed Ernst in the hot heat of the moment? But in reality, there is someone behind everything, right? It seems like everything was planned as an act of revenge. Revenge on everyone who hurt Miss Hill? The clues that couldn't fit together are now gradually coming together. When a sense of direction is somewhat clear, it only gives rise to greater doubts. Well, here's the problem then. If everything has been planned for the sake of Miss Hill, then what is this person's connection to Miss Hill? Before, Vin also considered Amy a suspect. Now, there doesn't seem to be any particular evidence of a relationship between Amy and Miss Hill. Putting Amy aside for now, do you guys remember what Miss Schneider said? Miss Hill came from a single parent household and kept her social relationships simple, rarely socializing with others. We would be hard pressed to find an acquaintance on this train. What about the undercover cop? Is in Hill's diary an undercover cop promised to assist Hill? Who is he? Where did he go? And what he doing now? Does he know something happened to Sheila Hill? Those are all good questions that we don't have answers for. We can take a closer look at what's on the chip. The entries reveal Miss Hill's interest in that undercover cop. I believe she would have written down as much relevant information as possible. Alright. Sheila Hill's journal. Experimental logs decoded from the encrypted chip recorded by Sheila Hill. Some are as follow. Rainy. Today's experiment were all failures. The extraction technique is not yet mature stable. I have to be more careful. What can be done to increase the success rate? How troublesome. Overcast. Today element T convection experiment was a success today, but energy leakage during the refining process cannot be eliminated. I met a new lab technician and we had lunch together. I always returned home with a headache. Perhaps long-term exposure to the energy leakage had impacted my body somehow. Cloudy. Element T is far too unstable. How can I ensure its long-term independent existence like other stable substances? I guess so-called scientists are always trying to go against nature. Perhaps a lab technician talked to me today. He was surprisingly funny. Rainy. It's raining hard today, but that hasn't dampened my mood. I rarely feel this way about someone. Is this what love feels like? Perhaps love comes at a bad time, or maybe love is always unreasonable. Rainy. Hi, the rainy season in Bakerlon has always been annoying, but I received a red poppy from him when I was about to head home. Its vibrant color cheers me up. But why is it a red poppy and not a red rose? Rainy. He purchased Shelley the poems of Percy Bysshe at the bookstore. I don't always usually read poems, but flipping through the pages, I found them to be intriguing. Blossom which were the joys that fell, and leaves the hopes that yet remain. Poets are always so sentimental. Cloudy. I seem to have made a mistake. Or perhaps the mistake is the experiment itself. I underestimated the influence of element C. The damage it does to biological cells may be irreversible if it continues. Overcast. I'm in a terrible mood. I can make up for my mistake. Once things starts, I'm powerless to stop them alone. But I was Pandora who opened the box. Really, an undercover policeman contacted me and he promised to offer me assistance. That's great. The heavens haven't forsaken me. It came as a surprise. The person who has always been paying attention to me and comforting me was actually him. He might have been sent by God to meet me. Overcast. Strange, we agreed to exchange data today. Why hasn't he showed up? Should I go to the police directly or wait for him? A long time has passed and he still hasn't shown up. I hope nothing bad has happened to him. Overcast. Khan Corporation has been keeping close tabs on me. Even my personal files have been affected. I have to think of a way to get rid of them, or I can't hand those things over. I must put an end to this, to Khan Corporation. Overcast. Oh no, Ernst has found me. I might not be able to escape. Forgive me. This is the final experimental log. Thus, it takes a long time to interpret the information recorded in the chip. This time, however, the main focus is on the experimental data and information. It seems Miss Hill was researching many other topics, not just element T. Luke opened several documents and places them side by side. Intelligent machinery blueprints, biochemical design experiments. She dabbled in many other research fields beside her own. It seems she had a wide range of interests. She was willing to experiment and innovate, and maintained the desire to innovate and explore to keep pushing herself forward. It takes hard work to be called a genius. Hmm? What's this experiment? Artem suddenly interrupts their conversation, pointing at a file in the upper left corner. It's a blueprint. Luke pulls out the document and zooms in. It's an intelligent machinery blueprint. After inspecting it, a look of understanding dawns on Maria's face. It's the blueprint for an intelligent medical device. By the looks of it, it should be a first draft. I didn't realize Miss Hill also dabbled in this. That makes me more curious. What does this device do? It seems to be an injection pump that can quickly deliver an intravenous injection. Quickly? Yes, let me see. Vin takes the tablet from Luke and inspects it closely. A few minutes later, he returns the tablet. This is Miss Hill's own portable intravenous micro-injection pump. Next to the design, she wrote, "Thanks for the inspiration, Mr. Undercover Policeman. Hope to finish it soon." I understand an intravenous injection booster, but what a micro-injection pump? It's an ideal new medical device that is still in the early stages of development. An injection can be administered intravenously within seconds, which greatly reduces the pain felt by patients. Miss Hill wants to use it to ease the burden of her mother's daily treatment. Patients who often need intravenous therapy go through a lot of trouble. If there was a device that could deliver an injection in seconds, it would be overwhelmingly popular. Is the blueprint really a feasible one? If we Whereas this is someone else's unfinished blueprint, don't even think about it. Wait, I didn't mean anything by it. I was just curious. Really? If pets got their hands on a technology that could finish an injection in seconds, wouldn't. Hold on seconds. Before he can finish his thought, Luke abruptly stands up. It surprises everyone in the room. I see now. Everyone, I think there may be another possibility regarding Mr. Khan's death. You're not suggesting that someone injected Mr. Khan with a medical device that could do it in seconds, are you? That's exactly what I'm seeing. Seriously, this is only a blueprint. It doesn't actually exist. But it is theoretically possible, no? Vin cuts Maris off and nods at Luke. Please continue. When we first saw the injection marks to Mr. Khan's dorsalis pedis vein, we assumed that someone close to him must have done it. Because it would have been difficult for a stranger to do that unless Mr. Khan was asleep or unconscious. But now we have a new hypothesis. If we assume Miss Hill's quick syringe exists, it could complete the injection in seconds and won't cause much pain. Then it is possible that a stranger could have killed Mr. Khan. Anyone who had a brief interaction with Mr. Khan would be a suspect. Good assumption, but there's one problem. There was only a first draft design contained in the chip. We have no way of knowing if it was actually created in the end. I agree with Autumn. Marius makes a gesture to indicate that he wants to speak as if he finally found the chance to cut in. And Miss Hill disappeared a year ago. With her chip encrypted, who else could have access to the blueprint? The undercover cop. Next to the design was a note from Miss Hill claiming that the undercover cop was her inspiration. That means, at the very least, the blueprint was created by the undercover cop and Miss Hill. Since the undercover cop knew of the design, maybe he tried to modify the design after Miss Hill's disappearance and tried to make it. The complex clues seem to intertwine, gradually untangling themselves to form a narrative. Then the undercover cop succeeded in boarding the Mobius and began his revenge plan. And his first target was Mr. Khan. He stole Mr. Khan's normal dosage of digoxin tablets and added more to his diet. It caused Mr. Khan to overdose with symptoms of poisoning. Someone capable of doing that would have access to Mr. Khan and wouldn't arouse suspicion. If you were that undercover cop, what would you do? Infiltrate Khan Corporation as an employee or pretend to be part of the crew on Mobius? According to Miss Hill's diary, the man had already infiltrated Khan Corporation, so he boarded the Mobius as an employee of Khan Corporation. After confirming that Mr. Khan had been poisoned, he then injected Mr. Khan with an unknown drug using the quick syringe. It caused Mr. Khan's death in the dining carriage and created the illusion of a ghostly revenge. And it so happens that the train was experiencing abnormal phenomena due to the aura magnetic field which only fueled this rumor. Needless to say, that wasn't the entire objective. The other objective was to cause internal conflict within Khan Corporation, making them suspicious of each other. And that plan worked flawlessly. With the plan a success, the next step was to clear himself of any suspicion. Certainly, since the train is a closed environment, every passenger cannot be clear of suspicion until the truth is revealed. So the person was smart enough to cause a diversion, break clues at the right time, and lead us to someone who was already suspicious. This way, any suspicions placed on him would be lessened, maybe even ignored. Vin adjusts his glasses, smiling. The answer seems to be at hand. Someone who was in regular contact with the Khan Corporation and helped guide the investigation. The biggest suspect at the moment is Emmy. Emmy. It is Artem's first definite conclusion since he boarded the train. The reality is that all the clues point to him, despite everyone's reluctance to admit the person who has been eager to help is a suspect. Our first encounter with Amy was when he bumped into Mr. Khan in the dining carriage. If he had the quick syringe in his hands, it would have been possible for him to inject Mr. Khan. And we learned about Khan cooperation and Dr. Ronson's suspicions from him. So he may be very well the undercover cop described in Miss Hill's diary who infiltrated Khan's corporation. Sorry to play devil's advocate, but this theory is built on the premise that the portable intravenous injection pump exists. Wouldn't it be embarrassing if the investigation revealed that it didn't? No, even if that were the case, part of our theory still stands. And it wouldn't be hard to test whether Amy was deliberately guiding us. Once we get off this train, we can dig deeper into Amy's background and relationships. I'm sure we'll find something. So the biggest obstacle is still the lack of signal. So do we tell Mr. Lewis our working theory now? Or should we keep searching the carriages and hope we can find something in these limited circumstances? At that moment, a sudden noise comes from a carriage on the other side of the corridor. Hey, something happened! Get over here! Before any of you can react, William Lewis rapidly knocks on the door, his voice coming from the outside. After exchanging glances, Luke closes the tablet. Come on, let's take a look. Get off me! Damn it, I'll kill him! What happened now? Honestly, if something like this happens to me again, I'll never let horrid sighter hear the end of it. A dull sound accompanies the vibrations, as if someone has been held down and is trying to free himself. Let me go, damn it! Upon entering the carriage, you see Simon, the conductor who had so passionately assisted passengers, pinned to the ground. He is held down by several passengers as well as crew members. The noises that you heard before were clearly made when they overpowered the conductor. What's going on? You feel a little overwhelmed by the sudden turn of events. Your gaze scans the carriage before landing on Yan Khan, who is crouching in the corner with a pale face. I'm not sure. Sorry, even I'm completely clueless this time. Yan Khan tries to remain composed, forcing himself not to get too flustered. But his composure is striking against the chaos in the carriage. What happened to Dr. Ronson? Artem's question prompts you to turn your gaze nearby to where Dr. Ronson is slumped at the table with his eyes closed. Vince steps forward to check Dr. Ronson's pulse. Still breathing, just unconscious. He did it. Yan Khan points his finger at the conductor who is pinned down by the crowd. Simon had just brought us our meal. Just when we were about to dig in, he suddenly pressed down on Dr. Ronson's hand. Within minutes, Dr. Ronson fell unconscious. I didn't see what happened. Before I knew it, Dr. Ronson was already unconscious. And then, Luke asked while looking down to check on Dr. Ronson. Then Simon lunged at me. I was prepared and managed to get away. Then people who heard your cries for help broke into the room and restrained Simon? Yan Khan still frightened by the whole ordeal. Look at this. Luke grabs Dr. Ronson's arm and shows everyone the back of his hand. A tiny hole is visible at one spot of the dorsal vein on the back of his hand. It looks very similar to the injection points left on the back of Mr. Khan's foot. Injection points? Oh, what? Why are there injection points on Dr. Ronson's hands? Did Simon do that? But he barely touched Dr. Ronson's hand. An injection completed in seconds, without much pain. It seems that our suspicion has been confirmed. That thing does exist. But why is it Simon? As you glance out of the corner of your eye at the conductor who is still pinned to the ground, you can feel the resentment and anger on his face. It is a feeling that you hadn't felt in all your days on the Mobius. What did we miss, or is there something we still don't know? It seems we need to have a talk with Simon. They're all scums. They should be dead. Shame on Bakerlon letting people like them live. After William Lewis moves Yan Khan and the unconscious Dr. Ronson away, you and the crew members persuade the other passengers to leave. Aside from your group, the only person that remains is Simon, who is still cursing. The room is empty now, Simon. They can't hear you swear at them. I'll swear all I want. Those who have done wrong live healthy and peaceful lives, and those who have been wrong die in a place where no one knows. How can we, the people of Bakerlon, just let this happen? If only I had known earlier, I would have done something. Done what? Acted earlier? Yes, I should have acted earlier. Vince's words seems to trigger Simon, the anger disappearing from his face, leaving only disappointment. Why do you see that? For who? Sheila Hill? Sheila Hill? How did you know? Speculation, Simon. As the conductor, if you wanted to do something to them, you would not have waited until now. It seems Jan Consorts made you act rashly. I remember his expression in the dining carriage. It was one of unusual fury. I remember Simon said something like, had I known. That's right, it's all for Sheila. My poor Sheila. If it hadn't been for me, if I had taken responsibility, everything might have been different. Simon looks even more upset, as if he had been hit hard. Simon, you did this all for Miss Hill? What's your relationship with Miss Hill? After a long hesitation, Simon sighs. I am her father. Sheila Hill is my daughter. What did you say? Someone told us Miss Hill came from a single-parent household and that her father died many years ago. They were right. Sheila did grow up in a single-parent household. In their eyes, I was long dead. In contrast to the bleak look on Simon's face, your attention is now focused entirely on what he is saying. Simon, may I ask you a few questions? Go ahead. You say you're Sheila Hill's father? Yes, I am her father. In my younger days, I like to move around and I don't want to be tied down by marriage. This caused problems with Sheila's mother, and we divorced when Sheila was still young. At the time, I thought Sheila's mother divorced me because she despised me, so I held grudge against her and never went back to Bakerlon to take care of them. Simon pulls a discolored photo from the watch pocket of his uniform jacket. In the photo, a newlywed couple is holding an infant. Removing the traces of time, it is evident that the man in the photo is Mr. Simon. Later, after moving around overseas for some time, I began to miss my family. But I was too ashamed to disturb them, so I only watched them from afar. He looks down in embarrassment. After that, my child grew up, became a scientist, and joined the prestigious Khan Corporation in Bakerlon. In my heart, I felt happy for her. But a year later, the daughter that I was secretly proud of had gone missing. After asking around, I heard she had some trouble with the Khan Corporation and its trade secrets before fleeing overseas. I was furious. My daughter wasn't that kind of person. Besides, she loved her mother, who she would never abandon. So I started your own investigation. There was only so much I can do. Despite my best efforts, I couldn't get any information about my daughter. Just when I thought about giving up, one day I received a letter. A letter? Can you tell us what it said and who signed it? It was a letter with a paper poppy flower. A paper poppy flower? Could it be? I know what you guys are thinking. And yes, that's the one. The same pepper poppy flowers were found near the bodies of Mark and Dennis. Simon frowns, somewhat dissatisfied. The letter was signed by Coquelicot. I don't know if that's a real name or an alias, but every letter was signed by that person. Coquelicot, Poppy. As for its contents, the first letter told me to become the conductor of the Mobius. It also told me that my daughter was murdered by the Khan Corporation a year ago. What? In the letter, Coquelicot told me that if I boarded this train, I would learn more about my daughter. Simon frowns at the mention of his daughter. So you did as you were told? Yeah, and you know what happened? Mark yelled out "Heal" before he died. At that moment, I knew that Coquelicot was right. There's something wrong with the people from Khan Corporation. Mark and those around him murdered my daughter. There is a sudden pause in his voice, and his whole expression becomes gloomy and annoyed. Why? Didn't anyone tell me earlier? If I had known earlier, I would have killed them myself. But did you ever consider that Coquelicot might not be telling you the truth? The truth told by someone else might just be another lie. Huh, do you think I'm stupid? The annoyed smirk turned scornful upon hearing these words. Of course I didn't really feel coherent, but I had no choice. When I received the first letter from Coquelicot, I notified the police, but nobody believed me. The police told me they searched for Sheila and concluded her disappearance had nothing to do with the Khan Corporation. They said I couldn't sue Khan Corporation based on an anonymous letter. Simon clenches his fist in anger, the veins on the back of his hand visible. At the time, I thought of many ways to handle it, but since nobody in Bakerlon would help me, I posted anonymously on overseas website to ask for help. I even included a Mobius ticket in the case request, hoping that someone would see it. The only person who accepted my case was a detective from Stelis. But Stelis was so far away, who knew if someone would really come? I couldn't wait any longer, so I could only trust Coquelicot and do as I was told. Even if Coquelicot had ulterior motive for using me, I don't care about that anymore. A case, isn't that? My anonymous client is you? Luke brings up the case information on his phone, which he had previously shown you, and shows it to Simon. Wait, it's you, the detective from Stelis? I can't believe someone came. The look of shock lingers on Simon's face for only a moment, but it seems to turn into frustration. It doesn't matter, that was just a shot in the dark. Who knew someone would actually accept it? But there's no way I can afford your commission. It wasn't that Luke's client chose to remain mysterious and stay in the shadow. He had simply forgotten that he had ever asked for help and given up on the hope that anyone would help him. Mr. Simon, what did you just inject into the back of Dr. Ronson's hand? And where did you get the syringe? What else could it be? A concentrated dosage of aminophylline, of course. Huh, I can't believe he's still alive after taking all those extra pills. I couldn't take it anymore. So you were the one that changed the capsules in Dr. Ronson's medicine bottle. It seems we were wrong about Yan Khan, which explains why he was so angry with us. Did Kokliket tell you about this method? I received a new message from Kokliket. He told me I could find a quick syringe in Dr. Ronson's room. With that thing, I could do the injection without anyone noticing, which means that I could kill Ronson. Where in Dr. Ronson's room did you find it? Can you show it to us? Simon glances at the corner of the room. Following his gaze, you spot an open window. I threw it out. Who would keep something useless on them? You don't know how to respond. For a moment, you wonder whether to tell him that he might have thrown out his daughter's research. More importantly, it should be a key piece of evidence in this case. Man propose, God dispose. So, did Coquelicot ever tell you in a letter how Miss Hill died? Simon doesn't answer right away. He stares at you for a moment, then sighs. That was never stated clearly in the letters, only that Khan Corporation was pressuring her to do things. But she wouldn't do those things. She kept fighting. Later on, Khan Corporation injected her with something, and you remember the mysterious video that Maris received. In the video, Mark said something like, give her another shot. Could the video we received be a recording of Miss Hill's death? Simon, have you contacted Coquelicot since you boarded the train? No, it's mostly Coquelicot who contacts me and gives me new instructions, like Mark's history of hypertension and Ronson's lung problems. I followed the instructions in the letter and managed to steal the pills from the Khan Corporation carriage. Then I put them in Mark's meal. That guy definitely had a guilty conscience, seeing as how it didn't take long for him to let the cat out of the bag. You stole Mark's medicine? My original plan was to have Mark die closer to the destination. I didn't know he would die that fast. But just as well, judging by the way he looked, he must have suffered. We went through so many leads but missed him. Who could have anticipated that Miss Hill's father would still be alive? Was the injection point on the back of Mr. Khan's foot also your doing? Injection point? I know nothing about that. Simon snorts coldly. Also, did you guys find a microwave controller? I dropped that. Now the anger had disappeared from Simon's voice. His mood had calmed down, but his words made your heart twist. You were the one that deliberately led us to the utility room that night? Not deliberately, no, I didn't know you guys were behind me. I noticed Ronson was acting suspicious, so I wanted to see what he was up to. Simon clenches his fist in anger. Coquelicot instructed me to walk up and down the carriages every night with the microwave controller on. You guys knew what was happening on Mobius that night. I suspect the microwave controller had something to do with the strange figures that appeared at night. But it had nothing to do with Michael, so I wasn't too concerned with it. So Simon wasn't aware that the microwave controller was causing people to see Hill's shadows. Or rather, did the person who gave him the controller make sure it was a frequency that he couldn't see? So it was all just a misunderstanding that night? Yeah, you guys almost bumped into me and gave me a shock. Had I not been familiar with the carriage, its structure, and hid in an empty carriage, you guys would have found me. But when I returned to my room, I realized the controller was gone. At this point, Simon had a look of regret on his face as if his good deed was disrupted. How did things turn out this way? After all, that speculation, the truth was unexpected. When Mark and Dennis met their demise, were you the one who put the paper poppies by their bodies? Yes, I put them there. The letters instructed that if anyone from Khan Corporation dies, I needed to place a red pepper poppy next to their bodies. I didn't understand it at first, but now I understand that Cocklicket was trying to tell me those scumbags are the targets of my revenge. Mark was responsible for my daughter's death. I remember red poppies represent repentance and atonement in Bakerlon, but why would Cocklicket make such a request? Maybe it's a mark. A mark? Yeah, like a brand. Some people are narcissistic and like to brand their masterpieces. Perhaps he asked Simon to do so out of a desire to show off. Really? I guess humans are complicated. Alright, I've said all I needed to say. I know what's in store for me, and I will take responsibility for my actions. Simon, can you give us those letters you mentioned just now? We'll turn them over to the Bakerlon police as part of our investigation. Sure, I keep them on my person because I was afraid someone would find them. He pulls out a sack of white peppers from the inside of his coat without hesitation. Sure, this is everything. Nothing I do will bring my daughter back. I just... At this point, he looks dejected, like the shadow of a father who had lost his daughter. But this remorse cannot fill the void in his heart, nor can it cover up his illegal actions. He will eventually pay for what he did. Later, William Lewis arranges for the other crew members to take Simon to an empty carriage for monitoring, leaving the five of you in the room. Cocklicut's mail, a batch of anonymous letters addressed to the conductor Simon. The letters were signed by Cocklicut. The letters contain information on Miss Hill and a note to Simon. Upon sealing, they have been handed over to Bakerlon police as evidence. Simon's information fill in some of the blanks we had. But there is still one thing that doesn't add up. Ronson couldn't break the encryption on the chip, which means he probably didn't have access to Hill's blueprint for the quick syringe. Then how did this thing appear in Ronson's room? What Simon said was upsetting, but it also raises new questions. And he claims to have drugged Mr. Khan. But he didn't know about the injection points on Mr. Khan's food. That means the person who injected Mr. Khan was someone else. More importantly, nobody on the Mobius can contact the outside world. So how did Cocklicut contact him? Evidently, the person is hiding on the train, which confirms who we already suspected earlier. Amy. Yeah, he is the only one who had access to Khan Corporation and is insignificant enough to remain hidden from view. The problem is that just our theory, which is not directly tied to any evidence. Indeed, with professional analysis devices and police assistance, this case wouldn't have been so much trouble. But the problem is, we're on this train. He was smart enough to pick the right time and place. He only needs to hide in the darkness where we cannot catch him. But as we've discussed before, we can't stay hidden forever. When the other clues are sorted out, the hidden contradictions always reveal themselves. And when they do, the flaws in his plan will be exposed. Amy does have good counter surveillance skills. If he has been hiding in the dark, it would be difficult to find substantive evidence under the limited circumstances. Then why not? What if we figure out a way to force him to reveal himself? After spending so much time on the Mobius, I doubt he can remember every intricate part of his plan. Suppose he left some evidence behind during a time when his memory is fuzzy, we use that and you mean we pretend that we have concrete evidence and see how he reacts? Yeah, do you think it will work? Yes, it is worth a try. Agreed, he is detail oriented and good at disguising himself, clearly making him confident. If we use these details to break through his psychological defenses, it may work. Yeah, if we can force him to make a desperate move, we'll have the proof we need. It's settled then. Let's follow Sherrera's plan and find a chance to test him. Good news, I just contacted the Bakerlon police. Seriously? Of course, I wouldn't joke about something like that. Just when everyone is preparing to find Emmy, Mary shakes his phone furiously and shows it to you all. On the screen is a record of a call that ended a minute ago. What did they say? They said they will contact Ginun Island and deploy more officers. And they'll figure out the situation as soon as possible and see if they need to send helicopters for assistance. Great! It seems luck is on our side. Through my persistent efforts, I managed to make contact. Persistent? Yeah, I usually try to contact the outside world around this time every day. You won't know if you don't try, and today's a success. The Mobius has almost existed the Mycene Mountains. Communications, it seems, will gradually return. Then we should have an answer to what happened on this train before we reach the destination. Having made up your minds, everyone prepares to find the carriage where Amy is. But before reaching the carriage, a familiar figure appears in the corridor ahead. It's Amy. Where is he going? Yeah, he seems cautious. So, where is he headed now? You look into everyone's eyes for confirmation as an idea pops into your head. Let's follow him. Following Amy, you all walk along the narrow corridors of the carriages for a long time. He keeps walking until he reaches the luxury carriage booked by the Khan Corporation. Is he trying to go in the carriage? Everyone, what are you doing here? Without any idea about how to confront him, Amy suddenly turns to greet everyone. The young man walks over with the small, gentle, and modest smile. He saw us, or did he know we were following him all along? Is there something I can help everyone with? Yes, we wanted to talk to you. It's rare for us to take a trip to Bakerlon with everything that's happened to on the train. Our minds are a mess. Mary's responds with deliberate ambiguity to make it seem like he's asking for help. Thanks to Mary's quick thinking, well, sorry, I may be busy for some time. Oh, do you have a lot of work to do? Dr. Rawson can't work in his current state, and the other colleagues stay behind at the lab. Only I came along. With my limited abilities, working alone will give me enough of a headache. Sorry. His refusal is impeccable and convincing. Can you spare us a few minutes of your time? Yeah, it won't take long, I promise. At this point, it would be rude to refuse any further. With a distressed expression, Emmy finally nods. Oh, okay. But I really can't stay long. No problem. Let us find a place. How about we borrow the configuration carriage? Alright. The furnishings in the carriage are just as luxurious as you remember. But of the temporary guests who stayed here, some died, some meet uncertain fates, and some will spend the rest of their lives in prison. Only the young man with the reddish brown hair wears a good-natured smile as if he knows nothing of recent events.
다들 왜 그러시죠? 말씀해 주실 중요한 이야기라도 있으신가요?
마크 씨와 데니스 씨의 죽음, 그리고 당신의 지도교수인 론슨 박사 일까지.
After looking at each other, Maris can't help speaking with a sharp sarcasm.
이 일들에 대해서 어떻게 생각하는지 하고 싶은 말 없어요?
Amy sighs, looking like a sympathetic bystander.
어떻게 생각하냐고요? 정말 안타까울 뿐이에요. 시몬 차장님이 마크 씨와 그렇게 깊은 갈등이 있는지 전혀 몰랐어요. 론슨 박사님, 데니스 씨 사이에 이해관계가 뒤얽혀 있는지도 전혀 몰랐고요.
Autumn leans against the bookshelf by the window. His tone indifferent.
정말 침착하시네요. 불안감이나 공포심이 전혀 없어 보여요.
Amy shrugs helplessly.
무서워해봐야 전혀 도움이 안 되잖아요. 베커론에 정말 공감되는 속담이 하나 있어요. 앞쪽은 나중에 탐색하고 내일의 고민은 나중에 생각하자. 일은 이미 이렇게 됐고 저처럼 평범한 사람은 그냥 받아들일 수밖에 없어요. 그렇지 않아요?
His mentality is strong without any obvious flaws. It seems this won't be enough to get new information. We need to proceed with the next step of the plan. Just when you're about to indicate your next move with your eyes, Vin, who is closest to Emmy, bursts out laughing.
베커론의 속담을 들으니 문득 이야기가 하나 떠오르네요. 남 흉내나 내면서도 환상으로 가득 찬 이야기죠.
Vin's words piques curiosity. Sure enough, the expression on Emmy's face freezes for a moment as if he's thinking about something.
무슨 이야기죠?
한때 베커론에 코클리코라는 아주 훌륭한 사냥꾼이 있었어요. 위장술에 뛰어났고 붉은 양귀비를 자신의 트레이드 마크로 사용하면서 눈독 들인 사냥감은 절대 놓치지 않았죠. 물론 타깃을 속이기도 했어요. 타깃은 죽기 직전까지 자신이 믿었던 동료가 양의 털을 쓴 늑대인 걸 모를 정도였답니다.
그런 이야기가 있나요? 처음 듣는 것 같은데요.
Luke flips through the letters that Simon gave him, pointing to the signature at the end.
너무 섣불리 부인하진 마시고요. 시몬 차장님한테 편지를 쓴 코클리코가 허구의 인물은 아닌 것 같아서요. 진짜 이렇게 간사한 사냥꾼이 있다면 어떻게 사냥감을 감시할지 상상을 해봤거든요. 열차에 숨어서 제3자인 것처럼 조용히 지켜보진 않을까요?
열차에 남아있으면 리스크만 커질 텐데 코클리코가 왜 그런 모험을 하는 거죠?
그래서 저희가 에밀 씨를 찾았을 때 자리를 떠나려고 했었고요. 아닌가요?
The foreshadowing was clear enough, but when there was no prospect of further progress, Autumn takes it a step further, pointing out the contradictions. Amy blinks innocently.
지금 절 의심하시는 건가요? 어쩐지 갑자기 우르르 몰려와서는 복도에서 감싸주더라니. 다들 이미 절 용의자라고 생각하고 있었네요.
You admire Amy's reaction time, and you pick up where Autumn left off, guiding the topic further. Amy, I admit we do suspect you. But it's not groundless suspicions. It is reasoning based on objective facts. Amy's face drops as if he's furious over the accusation from his friends.
증거 없는 추리. 그게 바로 모함이에요. 알겠다. 칸 컴퍼니 사람들한테 사고가 일어나고 있으니까 저를 의심하는 건 물론이고 죄가 있다고 단정 지으신 거네요. 정말 실망이에요. 전 저희가 친구라고 생각했는데 이러실 줄은 몰랐다고요.
이쪽에 아무런 증거가 없다는 걸 그렇게 확신해요?
Without giving Amy time to react, Maris winks at you and mouths the words chip. You quickly pull out the chip found in the sieve and show it to Amy. We've read the contents of the chip. In addition to Hill's academic research, there was also her personal diary. In the diary, she records in detail about an undercover cop who allegedly offered to help her blow the whistle at the Khan Corporation. At that moment, the fake irritation leaves Amy's face, replaced with cold scrutiny in his eyes.
비밀 경찰에 대한 믿음으로 힐 씨는 그와 관련된 사건을 모두 다 기록했죠. 만났던 과정부터 그 비밀 경찰에 대한 개인적인 생각까지요.
그뿐만 아니라 비밀 경찰이 힐 씨의 신뢰를 얻기 위해 건네줬던 물건이 있는 것도 자세히 적혀 있어요. 지금은 증거물을 찾을 수 없지만 경찰이 나와 있는 정보를 토대로 수색하다 보면 뭐라도 찾을 수 있겠죠.
Yeah, who knows? We might even leave a fingerprint. And when that happens, are you still afraid that we won't have any evidence? Seamlessly working together in tandem, it's almost as if you already have the evidence to pin the crime on him. A flicker of doubt flashes in Amy's eyes.
지문? 지금 말을 들어보면 전 굉장히 신중하고 실력이 뛰어난 사냥꾼인 것 같은데 그런 제가 지문을 남겼을까요?
He took a beat. As soon as he starts believing your words, a slight crack forms in his psychological barrier. But that is not nearly enough. The flames of doubt have to be bigger.
그 증거들을 일일이 조사하려면 엄청난 시간이 필요하니 지금 당장은 당신에게 큰 위협이 안 되겠죠. 그럼 바로 눈앞에 있는 증거를 하나 더 알려드리죠.
Vince speaks with a hint of mockery, becoming the first to fan the flames.
사실 시몬 씨를 시켜 마크 씨의 음식과 술에 독을 타면 독살하려는 목적을 그냥 달성할 수 있었을 거예요. 하지만 원하는 시간대에 약효가 나타날 수 있도록 초소형 주사기로 마크 씨의 발등 정맥에 일정량의 퀴니딘을 주사했죠. 그러니 엄밀히 말하면 당신이 마크 씨를 살해한 거예요.
마크 씨가 어떤 사람인데 제가 가까이 접근할 기회가 언제 있었겠어요?
Incorrect. Weren't you beside Mr. Khan when we first met you?
장난하시나요? 그때는 회식 자리였다고요.
Amy frowned, a hint of sarcasm slipping into his expression.
그리고 제정신이라면 그때 그 많은 인파 속에서 마크 씨한테 주사기를 쓸 수 있었을 거라고 생각하시나요? 그리고 그 물건은 시몬 씨 손에서 발견된 건데 왜 제 거라고 우기시는 거죠?
그 좋은 도구를 시몬 씨에게 줄 리가 없죠. 그가 가지고 있는 건 모조품 아닌가요?
Maris casually takes a step back, leaning against the door frame of the carriage.
본인에게 불리한 사람이나 일들은 다른 사람의 손을 빌려서 없애는 게 가장 좋은 방법이긴 하죠. 그리고 애초에 마크 씨와 원한 관계였던 시몬 씨는 딸에게 미안해하면서 자연히 당신의 꼭두각시가 됐던 거예요.
좋아요. 당신들 말대로 저한테도 소형 주사기가 있다고 치죠. 근데 그걸 제가 어떻게 구할 수 있었을까요? 그리고 제가 했다는 증거가 있나요? 고작 마크 씨 발등의 주사 자국으로 절 의심하시는 건가요? 그런 물건은 마크 씨의 주변 사람들이 더 얻기 쉬울 텐데요.
힐 씨가 남긴 자료에 의하면 소형 주사기는 아주 작아서 짧은 접촉만으로도 주사를 완료할 수 있다고 해요. 일반 사람이라면 불가능했겠지만 스파이로서 항상 특정 임무를 완수해온 당신이라면 분명 기회가 있었을 거예요. 예를 들면
All of a sudden, Luke's right pinky finger hooks as if clutching something in his palm. That's... Before you can finish that thought, he thrusts his hand at Amy. A strike within the close quarters of this small carriage would be able to strike the face. Before the cold shin can appear the next second, Amy takes a step back, barely dodging Luke's face. Then he dodges deftly to one side and clenches his fist while facing the window. Not good. He's trying to... The words escape doesn't have time to leave your mouth before Artem pushes the bookshelf beside him. It falls with a loud crash, blocking the window. Antique vases, ornaments, and books scattered all over the floor, hindering Amy's escape.
길이 다 막혔는데 어딜 도망치려고 그러실까?
Maris, who is leaning against the door frames, chokes casually. Amy sees nothing and looks coldly around the carriages. Maris is blocking the doorway while Artem is blocking the window with the bookshelf. In the center of the room stand Ju and Vin, ready to stop him whenever. Finally, his gaze lands on Luke's hands. Luke takes his hand back, the reflective object in his hands shaking slightly.
거짓말이고 칼은 아니었어요.
It's the commemorative ticket given to passengers in the Mobius luxury carriages. One side is decorated with silver paper, which gives off a metallic glow. Amy moves slightly as if twitching.
에밀 씨, 사람은 거짓말을 해도 신체적인 본능은 거짓말을 못해요. 아직도 사람들이 보는 앞에서 주사를 못 놓는다고 말할 생각인가요?
People will instinctively defend themselves when their life is threatened. Amy is no exception. To expose someone as experienced as him, all you need is to create opportunities to force him to show his weakness. Thankfully, it worked. The tacit understanding between the NTOS members played a crucial role in this critical moment.
당신들을 얕봤네요. 쓸데없는 소리를 많이 하더라니 진짜 기다렸던 건 방금 그 순간이었던 거죠.
그 허점이 필요했거든요. 지금까지의 의문점만으로도 충분히 경찰 측에 조사를 요청할 수 있어요.
Amy slowly stands up and looks at everyone coldly. Through the lenses, you can feel a change in the man before you. His appearance is still the same, but you feel a sense of pressure from him. You step forward enough to reach eye level with him. Now then, shall we talk, Amy? Or should I say, cocklicut?
이야기를 어디서부터 해볼까요?
Start with Hill. I want to know your thoughts on Miss Hill.
어떻게 생각하냐고요? 그게 중요한가요?
Of course, it will provide a basis for our judgment.
역시 변호사님이라 그런지 빈틈이 없네요. 방금 재미있는 이야기를 들려주셨으니 저도 재미있는 이야기를 들려드릴게요.
Amy begins talking slowly as if speaking of a story that had nothing to do with him.
코클리코라는 사냥꾼의 진짜 정체는 간사한 산업 스파이예요. 이 사람은 어느 날 유명한 회사의 상업 기밀인 T 원수를 훔치라는 고용주의 의뢰를 받게 돼요. 그래서 인턴 신분으로 실험실에 잠입했고 금방 순조롭게 중요한 돌파구를 찾아내죠.
What did he find?
T 원소 재련 기술을 이 세상에 가져온 젊은 과학자가 이 기술을 대중에게 알리려는 칸 컴퍼니를 막기 위해 각종 데이터를 수집하고 있다는 걸 알게 돼요. 자신의 연구 성과인데도 다른 사람들이 알게 되는 걸 꺼리다니 정말 흥미롭지 않나요?
Amy pauses for a moment, eyes smiling.
그래서 그 사람은 정의의 사도로 위장해서 비밀 경찰이라는 신분으로 상대방한테 도움을 주겠다고 했어요. 일머리가 너무 좋았던 건지 아니면 도움이 정말 급했던 건지는 모르겠지만 힐은 한치의 망설임도 없이 절 믿기 시작했죠.
Amy doesn't even realize that he had changed the protagonist in his story from him to me at the mention of Hill. He is no longer a cold spectator but the protagonist of the story.
그래서 힐의 믿음을 이용해 T 원소에 관한 정보를 훔쳐서 당신을 고용한 사람한테 넘긴 거군요. 하지만 정보가 유출된 걸 눈치챈 칸 컴퍼니에서 모든 수단을 동원해 추적했고 결국 유출자가 힐 씨라고 생각한 거네요.
마크 그쪽이 눈치가 빨라서 그런지 추적하는 속도가 생각보다 빠르더라고요. 그래서 언젠간 들키겠구나 싶었죠.
힐 씨는 칸 컴퍼니를 피해서 수집한 증거를 경찰에 넘길 수도 있었는데 왜 안 그랬을까요? 처음부터 속았으니까 그렇겠죠? 힐 씨는 자기가 만난 사람이 자신을 도와줄 정의의 비밀 경찰이라고 믿었을 거예요. 하지만 사실 당신은 사냥꾼이었던 거고요. 상업 기밀을 빼돌리기 위해서 아무렇지 않게 사람을 이용하는 스파이였던 거죠.
Amy does not answer. His face grows dark as he remembers something that he doesn't want to. Seeing his expression, a conjecture comes to mind. Were you still at Khan Corporation when something happened to Hill?
맞아요.
So you knew what they did to Miss Hill?
디곡신이 들어있는 약물을 먹였어요. 그걸로 정신 착란을 일으켜서 의식 불명일 때 더 많은 정보를 알아내려고 했고요. 가장 중요한 건 대체 누가 그녀와 접선하고 있는지 확인하는 거였죠.
그러니까 칸 컴퍼니는 정보를 유출한 사람을 찾아내려고 했고 그게 바로 당신이었던 거네요. 하지만 당신은 피해 하나 없이 무사히 지금 여기 있고요. 그렇다면 힐 씨는 끝까지 당신 이야기를 안 했다는 소리인데.
사냥꾼이나 돼서 다른 사람의 사냥감이 될 수는 없잖아요. 다른 사람한테 발각되지 않게 하는 방법이 다 있답니다. 물론 저도 제 비밀이 새지 않도록 잘 지켜야 했죠.
Vince snorts dismissively.
비밀을 지킨다는 게 힐 씨의 고통을 무시하고 방관하는 거였나요? 오랜 시간 동안 약물 고문을 받게 되면 결국은 어떤 결과를 초래하는지 잘 알고 있을 텐데요.
결과야 뭐 죽음을 맞이했죠. 협박당한 지 5일째 되던 날 마크가 인내심을 잃고 투약량을 늘려서
He says no more, but the implication is clear to all. There is no wind in the room, and yet a chill creeps down your neck, causing your lips to tremble uncontrollably when you speak. You knew? You knew everything and did nothing.
뭔가를 하면 제가 노출되니까요. 그럴 수 없었어요.
그래서 힐 씨가 고통받는 걸 보고도 무시하고 믿음을 저버린 건가요? 고작 당신의 안전을 위해서. 현명한 사냥꾼이라고요. 당신은 그냥 처음부터 끝까지 자기 자신밖에 모르는 이기주의자예요.
There is a light in Emmy's pale green eyes, and his fingers twitch slightly.
임무를 받았으면 이용할 수 있는 자원을 총동원해서라도 완수해야죠. 누가 그렇게 순진할 줄 알았겠어요? 날 팔 수도 있었잖아요. 이런 상황에 대한 대안도 다 생각해 놨었거든요. 자기가 말 안 한 걸 누구 탓을 해요? 제가 멍청하게 알아서 자수라도 했어야 했나요?
By the end, Emmy's voice is almost reduced to a growl. Some emotions erupt like a rushing tide, which can catch anyone by surprise. Not just for you all, but for Emmy as well. His cheeks are slightly flushed from his rapid breathing.
자, 제 이야기는 여기까지예요. 그 뒷이야기는 다들 아시다시피 전 다음 임무를 받고 이 열차에 탄 거예요.
So everything you've planned on this train is also a new assignment from your employer?
그 뒤로 새로운 지령을 받고 칸 컴퍼니에서 임무를 계속하고 있어요. 고용주는 칸 컴퍼니가 주최하는 이번 열차 여행을 망치길 바랐고 전 그에 맞는 계획을 세운 거죠.
그 고용주는
죄송하지만 그 질문에 대한 답은 드리기 어렵겠네요. 직업 윤리가 확고하다 해도 좋고 간사하다고 해도 상관없어요. 저 같은 사람은 발각되는 순간부터 버려진 카드가 돼서 고용주와의 계약도 자동으로 해지되거든요. 찾아봐야 아무것도 안 나올 테니 더 이상의 조사는 의미 없을 거예요. 존재할 필요가 없는 진실도 있는 법이거든요.
You. Putting his finger to his lips, Emmy makes a shushing gesture at you.
쉿! 말했잖아요. 오늘 이야기는 여기까지라고.
He puts his hand together and offers a gesture of surrender.
채우세요. 여러분이 베커론 경찰에 연락했다는 거 알고 있어요.
How did you know we contacted Bakerlon police?
도망칠 수 없다면 여러분이 절 정의의 사도에게 넘기도록 하는 수밖에요.
Emmy speaks, only smiling instead of answering the question. The rumbling tune tells you that he won't be answering that question. Could it be that before in the corridor? Emmy was eavesdropping on our conversation about him and he attempted to escape. He's hard to deal with. The mystery is solved, but it doesn't feel that way. Glancing at everyone's out of the corner of your eye, you notice that everyone has a look of regret on their faces to varying degrees. But you are certain that this man will never give up the true mastermind hidden in the darkness, at least not to you all. Some truths are destined to remain hidden, waiting for others to uncover them.
좋아요. 그럼 당신이 바라는 대로 다음 이야기는 다른 사람들이 듣게 되겠네요.
Luke steps forward, preparing to take Emmy to a separate carriage where he will stay until the destination. The moment he passes by you, an unknown emotion causes your mouth to move subconsciously. One last question. With almost 1 foot out of the door, Emmy stops and turns to you, waiting. Did you have any regrets? Emmy widens his eyes in surprise as if hearing a strange joke. Did you have any regrets when you learned of Miss Hill's death? An inexplicable emotion surged from the depths of his green eyes, helplessly and sad. Emmy then shakes his head and sighs softly.
제가 진짜 비밀 경찰이었다면 얼마나 좋았을까요?
With that sigh, some emotions fade away, disappearing into the depth of his eyes. Does the implied remorse of the red poppy flower given by the cocklicot serve as a warning for the sinners or punishment for himself? Maybe for a few moments there was a light that brightened his eyes. But in the end, it is like a grain of sand brutally crushed under waves, returning to nothingness. Lost note. Someone must have dropped this piece of paper, which was found on the carpet of the luxury suite. A few lines of a poem can be read. Blossom, which were the joys that fell, and leaves, the hopes that yet remain. Memories that made the heart a tomb, regrets which glide through the spirit's gloom, and with ghastly whispers tell that joy one lost is pain. After briefing the Bakerlon police on Amy's situation, you all receive word that assistance would be dispatched immediately. Somehow, the long journey has finally come to an end. Beyond the mountains, the sun shines brightly outside the window. This should be a moment of relief, but you find yourself unable to relax. Tired? Yeah, so many things have happened, and it feels somewhat regrettable. Are you sorry about what happened to Miss Hill? You can't help admitting that Vince's senses are as keen as ever. You are about to nod when you notice the others giving you a constant look. Yeah, I'm certain kind cooperation will pay the price for this matter. But even so, that doesn't undo what happened in the past. When I think about it, it makes my heart heavy. Yeah, many people have paid the price for this tragedy. Too many innocent people were involved. And there's only so much we can do. Sometimes I wonder what would happen if the tragedy was prevented from ever happening. If Miss Hill was still here, would she have seen all this and felt some relief at the end? But then I thought these assumptions won't do us any good, they are meaningless. We handle whatever situations we face to the best of our abilities. That's the best we can do. I know. Do your best and maintain a clear conscience. There are a few simple risks, but they are also a goal that requires a lifetime to pursue. We should rest today. Tomorrow will be better. Yeah. Just as you're about to respond to their kind words with a smile, Out of the corner of your eye, a familiar shadow seems to pass by the window. Huh? Something wrong, Shirara? The shadow shakes ever so slightly before vanishing from your view swiftly. No, it was just my imagination. It was almost impossible for you to see the shadow clearly, but your mind tells you that it looked extremely similar to a certain woman. You wonder if it's an illusion formed by the lingering obsession in your mind. But at this moment, the sense of wistfulness that lingers in your heart flutters away. The sun slowly seeps in with the scenery swaying outside the window, filling this place left by the heat. Let's come back to Bakerlon when we're free. When that time comes, I think I'll plan my own trip and admire the beauty of Bakerlon. No problem, I'll make a travel itinerary for you. Yeah, leave the planning to me. Sure, it's a deal then. I hope everything changes then. Yes, it will. You believe that in the near future, the Bakerlon police will do right by Hill. An ending that would fill the void of regret in her life. Hill, I hope you can see this. To see the fog lift, to see the truth unfold, to see justice come, to show the world your face.